My buddy's wife had just been caught red-handed in adultery, and he sobbed into my shoulder that he envied the 10-year true love Ellis and I shared. The next second I heard flirtatious moans drifting through the hotel wall. I had listened to that voice for 10 full years, I could recognize it even if it turned to ash. The last golden couple in our circle had just collapsed. Later I had a beautiful woman in my arms, a son and a daughter, while she became the standing joke among our friends. Quinn already has 2 kids, and someone still can't get over her first love. 1. I hadn't even left the office on Valentine's Day when my phone rang. On the other end my buddy was weeping so hard he could barely speak, begging me for help. I raced to the address and found myself at a 5-star hotel. A hackneyed plot: infidelity, betrayal, caught in the act. I kicked the door in with him and watched his wife rolling on the bed with a soft-faced, pale kid, both of them soaked in sweat. The 2 adulterers were so startled by our entrance that their souls almost left their bodies. They knelt at his feet, wailing for forgiveness. My buddy snapped photos with a stony face and told them to get lost. But the instant they scurried out, he could no longer keep up the facade. He dropped to his knees and howled. Cam. 10 years. 10 whole years. Everybody in our circle has divorced or broken up. I thought she and I would grow old together, and look where we ended up. Watching him heartbroken, I felt a pang in my own chest. We had been college roommates for 4 years, as close as blood brothers. When we graduated, all 4 guys in our suite married the women we loved, and for a while it was the fairy tale everyone repeated. 10 years later, 2 of those couples were already divorced. Things had changed beyond recognition. I never imagined this pair would crash and burn even more brutally. I knew he had invested real feelings, that was why it hurt this much. He clutched my hand, his face streaked with tears. Cam, out of the 4 couples only you and Serena are left. I truly envy you. You found a wife who loves you so much. You have to last forever. Your 10-year true love is the last bit of hope I still have in love. I patted his shoulder, offering silent comfort. Serena and I really were the couple everyone admired. I was slow to warm up. At the start she had pursued me. She would audit my class every single day, sit beside me and stare without blinking. She would stand under the guys' dorm all day just to catch a glimpse of me. She would cry on the phone in the middle of the night because I hadn't answered, asking why I didn't like her. Ellis came from money and was gorgeous, a celebrity on campus, while I was just a poor kid carrying the hollow title of Ice King of the law school, insecure to the core. In the end, puzzled, I asked her, Ellis, there are tons of men on campus, why are you stuck on me? That afternoon, under the scorching midsummer sun, Ellis broke her own rules for the first time. She slipped her arms around my waist and, ignoring everything, kissed me right on the chin. Quinn. I just love this block of wood. I admit at that moment my heart wavered, and the passion of a young girl made me fall. Ellis and I became a couple, graduated, and naturally walked down the aisle. We had just passed our 10th anniversary. In those 10 years we fought, bickered, quarreled, but we never once thought of splitting up. Long ago we had become indispensable halves of each other's lives. At every reunion our classmates teased, come on, you 2 married so long, can't you stop being so sickening? Seriously, I'm not even hungry for food after all the dog food you feed us. Whenever that happened Serena would nestle against me, chin lifted, pride all over her face. So what? I'm going to love Quinn for another 100 years. And I could only lower my head shyly, eyes holding no one but her. Suddenly, from the room next door, came a spurt of sensual gasps. My hand, meant to comfort my buddy, froze mid-air. The instant I heard that voice I felt dropped into an ice cave. This very morning the same voice had whispered beside my ear, honey, don't go to work, okay? I don't want to leave you. It was Ellis's voice, one I could recognize even if it turned to ash. The hotel walls were thin, making every obscene sound next door ring out crystal clear. I distinctly heard my wife panting shameless flattery beneath a stranger. Dylan. Dylan. You're amazing. Then the man's cocky banter, who's better, me or your husband? You. 10,000 times better than Quinn. After that the two exchanged filth I could barely catch, because a piercing buzz had already swallowed my hearing. I felt hurled into a boundless sea, and within minutes I was nearly drowning. My buddy's face was even paler than mine, his lips shook with rage and he cursed under his breath, "Son of a bitch, I am busting that door down." He spun to leave, but I lunged and yanked him back. "Don't. Just, don't." The words finished, my knees buckled and I dropped to the floor. How could I barge in just as he had done to his own wife and corner my spouse with another man? Watch them naked and disgraced? How could I face it? How could I accept it? That person was Ellis, the Ellis I had treasured and adored for 10 whole years. Hot tears finally spilled, rolling down in huge drops. Afraid the neighbors might hear, I knelt there and wept in silence. My buddy held me up, his own eyes red. "Cam, 3-legged toads are rare, but women with 2 legs are everywhere. Don't lose yourself in this." I pressed my palms to my face and swallowed every bit of grief and refusal. Women with 2 legs were indeed everywhere, but Ellis, there was only one. And from this day forward, that Ellis would no longer belong to me. 2. How I drove home I have no idea. When I stepped into the living room it was long past midnight. On the couch the sunflower throw pillow grinned at me as usual. It was Ellis's favorite. She said every time she came home and saw that sunflower her mood lifted. Why couldn't I feel it tonight? On the coffee table sat the bouquet I had bought her yesterday, because today was Valentine. Flowers that normally survived a week had all withered overnight. It felt like an omen of our marriage, everything seemingly the same, yet suddenly at the end of the road. I shuffled into the living room like a zombie and collapsed onto the sofa. A sharp pain in my chest made me curl into a ball. In that hunched posture I drifted into a dazed half-sleep. The whole night long I was chased by a string of nightmares, every one ending the exact same way. When dawn finally hauled me awake with sunlight on my face, I realized Ellis had never come home. A mocking twitch tugged at my lips. How perfectly ironic. The couple everyone from parents to poker buddies held up as the gold standard of devotion had spent Valentine's night apart. Suddenly the door opened and Ellis slipped in, hair wild from sleep. The instant she spotted me on the couch her face went white, she forced a bright, brittle smile. "Sweetheart, why are you sleeping out here?" I watched her without answering. She came closer, apparently unaware of fresh love bites still bloomed on her neck. She settled beside me, all calculated ease, and coiled an arm around my shoulders. "Babe, a bunch of us girls went out and got carried away, so we crashed at Taylor's place. I sent you a WhatsApp, didn't you see it?" My Adam's apple jerked twice. "Didn't see anything." "No wonder." She laughed and pecked my cheek. "My darling Professor Quinn, are you pouting because I missed Valentine's?" Okay, I'll spend the whole day making it up to you." In that instant her sugary coo melted into the obscene breathiness I'd heard in the hotel corridor. Nausea slammed me, I flung her hand off and almost heaved. She froze, staring. "Honey, what's wrong?" I turned to the window, unable to look at her. "Just remembered a grant proposal I have to finish. I need to go." I bolted as though something feral were snapping at my heels. In the stairwell I slid down the wall and sat on the cold concrete, face buried in my arms, crying in ragged, silent spasms. "Ellis, I hate you. Why did you torch our home, incinerate the love we spent 10 years building? But Ellis, I hate myself more. Because even now I can't stop loving you." 3. The faculty offices were deserted on the weekend. I sat at my desk, blankly watching bright sunshine flood the quad while memories of the last 48 hours clanged in my head. Dylan, the name nagged me. Then it clicked, the new intern Ellis kept complaining about was called Avery. Half a year ago she'd suddenly started ranting at dinner. Is Avery brain dead? I have to babysit him through a brain-dead pitch, total waste of my time. I swear Avery must be some VP's nephew, with skills that lame. Why did we even hire him? Ugh, just seeing him every day ruins my mood. Spoiled and sharp-tongued, Ellis loved shredding colleagues, so I'd worried she'd make enemies. I kept advising her to cut the kids some slack. Months later her tirades stopped. I assumed my lectures had worked and felt quietly proud. Turns out the shift had simply happened where I wasn't looking. Franklin. A lover's quarrel outside shattered the glassy quiet. A guy stood fuming, the girl glowered back. Then, mid-glare, they both cracked up. He pinched her cheek in exasperation. Pull this again and I really won't forgive you. She rose on tiptoe and brushed his cheek with a kiss. All right. I know, I messed up. Last time, promise, just forgive me one last time, okay? The scene slammed me back 10 years. Fresh out of school, I'd stayed on as a lecturer while Ellis hunted for her first job. We were newlyweds, broke, glowing. To save money she skipped lunch every day, hiding it from me for a month until she collapsed and landed in St. Luke's. I kept vigil by her bed, heart bruised with fear. I scolded her exactly like that boy just had. Ellis, do that again and I swear I'll be furious, no more second chances. She'd squeezed my hand, kissed my knuckles, laughed weakly. Yes, Professor Quinn, never again. Last time, just forgive me this last time, okay? The echo of that sweetness throbbed against my ribs. I pressed a palm to the ache and shut my eyes. Ellis. I'll give you one final chance. End it with him and I'll pretend none of this ever happened. I'm surrendering to our decade together. 4. When I rushed home to talk, the apartment was empty. I speed dialed her. Ellis, where are you? A tiny hesitation. Oh, an urgent client file came up. I'm at the office tying up loose ends. What's wrong, honey? Before I could answer, a familiar male voice drifted in. Taylor, come help me with this layout, nothing I do works. Stop fielding calls, okay? You promised you'd stay with me. Avery. Ellis answered him, then came back, apologetic. Sweetie, it's crazy here. I'll come home as soon as I wrap up, alright? No. I cut in, voice shaking. Come home right now. We need to talk something huge. A sigh crackled through the speaker. Quinn, don't be childish. We're adults, quit throwing a tantrum. Ellis. My throat vibrated with the effort to stay steady. Come back. If you walk through that door, I'll give you anything you want. The reply was cold, final. Quinn, I really can't leave. We'll talk tonight. The line went dead, the dial tone told like a judge's gavel on our marriage. Ellis, you're ruthless. Heaven itself handed us one last lifeline and you tossed it away. My arm dropped, then lifted again. I opened contacts and tapped a name. Christine, draft the divorce papers. Yes, I'm filing. 5. I have no memory of how the rest of the day bled away. The suffocating weight that had clamped my lungs all week finally loosened. I sit motionless on the couch now, the documents Christine couriered over lying on the coffee table like a polite bomb. The books are right, emotion is a consumable. The more intense the feeling, the faster it burns out. After only a few days, the agony and disbelief that had me in a chokehold have dulled into a numb acceptance I can carry without staggering. The instant the sky went dark, an unknown number sent me a video. In it, the silhouette I know by heart is pinned across an office desk while someone takes her without ceremony. Beneath the clip runs a single line, Professor Sterling, a gentleman helps others achieve their happiness. When it's time to step aside, step aside. I calmly tapped save, then turned the phone face down. A little past 1 a.m., Ellis finally drifted home after a day of who knows where. The moment our eyes met, guilt flickered across her face. They say the guilty speak first. Sure enough, Ellis struck preemptively. Quinn, I swear I don't know what's gotten into you. We're adults, we each have careers. Am I supposed to drop everything and babysit you? Don't you think you're suffocating me? Who exactly are you glaring at? Watching her rage, I felt nothing but mild amusement. When I loved her, I'd wanted 24 hours a day at her side watching, waiting. Now that love is gone, that same devotion is labeled suffocation. Why do some people get to act like spoiled brats in love and never face the bill? I no longer care to argue. Right or wrong is irrelevant now. I slid the divorce papers across the table. Sign. Ellis picked up the sheet, confused. When the words registered, she froze. After a silence you could hear splinter, her lips trembled. What is this? I looked at her without heat. Can't read it? I'm asking for a divorce. Ellis, you got your wish, you're free. The color drained from her face the instant the sentence left my mouth. She shook so hard her voice cracked. Quinn, have you lost your mind? What are you saying? Everything was fine, why divorce? Is marriage some joke to you? Lovely, high-sounding words. If I hadn't seen and heard what I did, I'd almost believe I was the villain. I laughed at myself for ever being that gullible. Ellis, where were you on Valentine's night? She hesitated, then rattled off, I already told you, out with the girls at the karaoke bar all night. Mia and the others were there, I can call them right now. I studied her earnest face and spoke slowly. That night Franklin dragged me to the Grand to catch his wife cheating. Room 1203, we walked in on her in flagranti. Ellis, guess who was in 1205? Her expression turned to stone, terror flooded her eyes. I pulled out my phone, opened the clip Avery had sent, and hit play. Breathless, obscene sounds filled the room. I held the screen an inch from her face. Ellis, maybe you should answer your own question. What is marriage to you? No. It's not what you think. Stop. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she dropped to her knees and locked her arms around my legs. The heat of her tears burned through my suit like molten rock, pain that only sharpened my clarity. Enough, Ellis. Let's not strip the last shred of dignity from what we had. She only clung harder, shaking her head, voice raw. I won't. I won't. I don't want a divorce. Husband, I was wrong. I was delirious, insane, but it was only a moment. My heart has always been yours, only yours. We've loved each other 13 years, married 10. Can't you forgive me once? Are you really sentencing me to death over a single slip? Quinn, look at me. Just this last time, forgive me, please? I gazed down at her hope-ravaged face and felt nothing. Ellis, I gave you the chance, you threw it away. I called you today, come home now and I'll give you anything. I was ready to forgive, to pretend none of it happened, to surrender to the decade we've built. But you? You chose him, right there on the office desk, and you let him film it. Ellis, we've run out of road. No, that's not Dash, she wailed, voice fracturing. He tempted me, we'd been drinking, I lost control for a second. Believe me, Quinn, I love you so much, it was just one stupid mistake. Every adulterer comes equipped with the same script. I was drunk, I was sick, I was seduced, I was forced. Can you be drunk once, twice? Will you be drunk 100 times? Love is the one place where even a grain of sand is intolerable, a single betrayal and trust disintegrates. If I take her back, every second afterward will be poisoned by suspicion. I'll turn paranoid, furious, irrational. The wrongdoer will be her, yet the punishment will fall on me. I refuse to become that man, and I refuse that life. After a long silence I shook my head, decisive. Ellis, it's over. Don't let 10 good years rot into mutual loathing. If any shard of love for me remains, let me go. Only then did she realize the sentence was final. Despair flooded her eyes as she slumped to the floor. 13 years as lovers, 10 as spouses. She knows me. She knows when a pout will work, when tears will buy her time. She also knows that, to the man standing before her now, none of it matters anymore. Because I truly finally don't want her. That night I walked out of the home we'd shared for 10 years and drank alone at the Brass until the bottles blurred. However hard I tried to play the stoic, memory still stabbed at my chest. Call it withdrawal, the relationship filled nearly half my life. Not just the past decade, almost half my entire existence. The next decade, the next 2, the next 3. I had already penciled her into every single day of my future. I looked forward to growing old with her, the very picture of marital harmony. I wanted us to be the exception, the only ones left in a world that had supposedly run out of real love. To that end I gave everything. I turned down every woman who showed even the faintest interest, cut off pointless happy-hour chatter with colleagues, even distanced myself from the childhood friend who had always watched over me. I didn't care what people said, for Ellis, it was all worth it. And I believed Ellis would spare the same effort for me. I thought we were forever running toward each other. I never guessed I was sprinting alone the whole time. Ellis was never on the same road. The sharp liquor scorched its way down my throat, triggering a violent coughing fit. Diners around me recoiled, afraid I'd splatter their clothes. Just when I was at my most pathetic, a pair of familiar hands caught my arm. I jerked my head up, and Tessa's silhouette filled my vision. In front of someone who has known me for 30 years, I had nowhere to hide. The pain I'd been tamping down erupted all at once, hot tears slid from the corners of my eyes as I choked out her name. Tess. Tessa's eyes reddened too, yet she asked nothing. She simply slipped an arm around my shoulders and drew me gently into her embrace. My tears soaked her blouse. She was like a decontamination zone, sealing me off from the rest of the world, carving out a pocket of safety in the clamor where I could finally let everything go. After a long while she clasped my wrist and said softly, "Cameron, let's go home." 8. I hadn't expected home to mean her apartment though. Thinking about it, anywhere else was impossible. I couldn't face Mom and Dad while I looked like this. While I showered, Tessa cooked a bowl of steaming noodles. Sitting at her table, I felt the storm in my chest begin to calm. She watched me eat, still asking no questions, only telling me to finish the bowl and then sleep. I nodded, that was exactly what I needed. I'd assumed I'd toss and turn in a strange bed. Instead I slept long and deep, nightmare-free. I took a leave from Eastbrook and stayed with Tessa for 10 full days. Phone off, world shut out, my routine reduced to reading and watering plants. Bit by bit the jagged thoughts dulled. 10 years of love digested and buried in 10 days. Through it all, Tessa stayed quietly nearby. Not once did she mention Alice, she knew me too well. On the 11th dawn I was dressed and standing at her door. Tessa smiled. Ready to meet the new world? Warmth spread through my chest. Yes. Thank you, Tess. She didn't answer the thanks, only gave my hand a small squeeze. Cameron, people's sight is awfully narrow. When you're too close to one thing, a single leaf can block the whole forest and you miss the beauty right beside you. I know you understand what I mean. I thought for a moment, then nodded. Tess, give me a little time. Of course. I've waited years, a few more days won't matter. Outside her building the sun poured over me. Pedestrians, traffic, sidewalk, flowers, everything looked brand new, as though I'd never really seen them before. Maybe I had been blind. And now the new life had truly arrived. 9. Work resumed, and on the surface nothing had changed except Ellis no longer existed in my universe. I moved back in with my parents. They asked no questions, only remarked casually over dinner one night, "Sweetheart, nothing's ever that big a deal. We're always in your corner." My throat stung, but the warmth outweighed the ache. Parents are the final safe harbor, no matter how long or far I roam, when I turn around they're still there. Days slipped by, 2 months in a blink. Then an uninvited guest showed up. It was my first formal encounter with Avery. The boy looked barely 22, sunshine and youth packed into a crooked grin. For a second I thought I was staring at my college self, the same aloof pride shaped his features. Right now he was glaring at me. "Professor Sterling, flipping the board when you're losing pretty ungentlemanly, don't you think?" I nearly laughed. First, I have no idea what you're talking about. Second, does a homewrecker really qualify to lecture me on gentlemanly behavior? That lit Avery's fuse. Before I could react, he lunged and smashed his fist into my face. "Quinn. Who the hell do you think you are? You think your dirty tricks will win Taylor back? Dream on. You're old. Taylor wants me now. Whatever you do, she'll never take you back." I calmly wiped the blood from my lip and smiled. If that's true, why are you here throwing a tantrum? I turned to a colleague. Call the police. They arrived quickly, cuffed Avery, and hauled him to Eastbrook Precinct. As the victim, I rode along to give my statement. 2 months later, I saw Ellis again inside the station. She had lost weight, her face haggard. The instant she spotted me, tears sprang to her eyes. Honey, are you okay? Did that bastard hurt you? I gently pushed her hand away. Serena, I'm not your husband anymore. That word isn't appropriate. Her hand froze midair. I haven't signed the divorce papers. I shook my head. Stop this. If you won't sign, I'll file and serve you. Just then the officers led Avery past us. No one expected Ellis to stride forward and slap him hard left, then right. Avery, what the hell are you? A toy I picked up on a whim. You think I loved you? Keep dreaming. You destroyed my marriage, you drove Quinn away and I hate you for it. I hate you. I'm telling you, the only man I've ever loved is Quinn, only him, for my whole life. Avery's eyes bulged, he stared at Ellis in disbelief. He still couldn't understand how the woman who had whispered I love you and melted beneath him could now say this. The love at first sight he'd bragged about had, in her eyes, been nothing but sordid. Mad with rage, he tore free of the officers, lunged, and clamped his hands on her shoulders. Why, he bellowed. Why did you lie? You love me, say it. Say it. Ellis fought to wrench away. In the scuffle Avery flung her sideways. The accident happened in a heartbeat. Her head cracked against the sharp window ledge. Police piled on, pinning Avery and dragging him back to the interrogation room while someone dialed 911. Ellis, skull fracture, was rushed to St. Joseph's. Avery was indicted for felony assault, a prison term waited. No one had foreseen the long, grinding war ending like this. 6 months later, Ellis finally signed the divorce papers. A marriage that had lasted 10 years ended in that instant. Through those months Tess had stayed quietly at my side. I'd always known how she felt. Breakfast that appeared in my bike basket in middle school, the Christmas gift she saved up for in high school, the text that landed on every birthday at the stroke of midnight. A feeling that steady isn't born overnight. Because of that, I'd distanced myself once Ellis and I got together. I knew what those years of watching Ellis and me play the perfect couple had cost Tess. At every gathering she'd watch us with a wistful, blessing smile, a look that stabbed me more than once. Ellis had been wrong, I wasn't. I felt things, and some feelings I couldn't fend off. After the devastation, Tess's gentle care felt like a shaft of light in a house shuttered against storms. She was my redemption, a bloom thrusting up through barren ground. The day I finally rooted Ellis out of my heart, I asked Tess to be mine. The girl who never cried flung herself into my arms, sobbing. I held her, kissing her cheek. Sorry I made you wait so long. She shook her head, brushed a kiss to the corner of my mouth. Quinn, you know, for you I'd wait a lifetime. 11. Time slipped by like running water. At our 15th college reunion I walked in with Tess and our 3-year-old daughter. The circle is small and scandal travels fast. Everyone knew about the divorce, so I was invited, Ellis was not. Fine by me, no awkward encounters. Yet while everyone was tipsy, a silhouette appeared in the doorway. Ellis stood there in a white sundress, every inch the campus queen who once stopped traffic. Gasps circled the room. All eyes swiveled to me, the other half of the headline. I stayed seated, feeding my daughter a strawberry, saying nothing. Ellis studied me, then approached unhurriedly. Hey, Cameron. Long time. I nodded. Indeed. She kept her gaze fixed on me. How have you been the past few years? Without waiting she added, rhetorical question. Everyone knows you've had a beauty in your arms and now an adorable daughter. Life must be bliss. I just wonder, 10 years of marriage and I never gave you a child. Such a pity. The room went stiff. Bringing my wife and child, Ellis's words were out of line, an outright insult to Tess. My face hardened. Serena, watch your mouth. Don't spoil the evening. The color drained from her. Tess, unable to bear it, slipped an arm around me. Cameron, let it go. Our girl's sleepy, let's head home. She was throwing Ellis a lifeline, afraid she'd make a scene. But Ellis misread it as bragging and snapped, so you gave him a kid, big deal. Tessa, think I didn't see you crying when I married him? You've waited all this time for us to split, and now you've won happy? Nasty and vicious. I stood up straight, locking eyes with her. Tess has given you every chance, yet you keep crossing the line. Who wrecked our marriage, Tess? Want me to spell it out in front of everyone? Scarlet and pale by turns, Ellis faltered. Tess tugged my hand and said quietly, I did love Quinn for years. And when you two married, I honestly wished you happiness, because he truly loved you. But why didn't you treasure him? Ellis, some mistakes can't be undone, life doesn't hand out do-overs. She gave my fingers a small squeeze. I didn't look back, I lifted our daughter and left the hall with Tess. 12. That night a college roommate messaged me a screenshot, Ellis's Instagram dash. The most precious thing is first love, no one can replace that thrill. You'll never measure up. I shrugged and laughed. 5 minutes later the roommate posted, Quinn already has 2 kids, someone still chasing first love, huh? I burst out laughing, tossed the phone, and dragged Tess into my arms for a long, hard kiss. Yep, wife, kids, warm bed. First love, schmirst love. Happiness is what's in your hands right now. The end. Thanks for listening to today's story. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and share it with friends. We look forward to your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more great stories. See you next time.